Well, at the moment, everything is peaceful in the household, even though the kids are home. We'll see how long that'll last. But I'm getting ready to start on the second square of these cockatoos. I did the first one right here, and we're going to move up to this one, which will include his little head and top knot. So this will be an interesting square for sure. So anyway, how is everybody? It's Sunday, and I'm just gonna hop on here for as long as I can before I start getting interruptions. I think the kids are watching a TV show right now with their mother, so I may have a good hour. I don't know. Get this cover sheet all pulled back. Okay, let's see. Maybe I'll do some bright colors for right now to get started in the second square. IJ. KL. Okay. I took my allergy medicine this morning, and it just isn't helping. Something's in the air. Not sure what. But at least I don't have a headache. It's just a stuffy nose. And I feel okay. I'm still a little tired, and I don't know, maybe the week just caught up with me. Staying up late. I didn't really eat that great. But I'm just going to relax and take it easy. I may do a load or two of laundry. And I did try those glue dots that I got at Michael's yesterday. I ran up and got my order. And the ones that are removable don't work very well in the pen. They don't stay in the pen at all. They're very sticky. And I went back to the permanent ones. Just to give you guys a heads up on that. Now those removable ones are good for a lot of other things though. And I will put them to use. I wish they were the small minis. But I did use them to label my little containers. I just had to cut them because they're so big. And when you have something larger than the label, when you touch it, your finger's going to stick to it each time. And so I needed to cut those stickers, or rather glue dots, down to quarters. I cut them in quarters. So I did get my pillow insert. It's nice. And I haven't started another row on my pillow yet. I wanted to do that last night, but there was a lot going on TV with the news, and my grandson wanted to spend time with me, so I split some time up to give him some time with Grandma. So I didn't even really diamond paint last night either. But I did get one square finished this morning, a little bit before I went to church, and when I came home I've been finishing up that first square. So I want to get at least this square done by the end of tonight, So I'll have 1 square per day because that's my goal, if not more. I thought I would have a lot of time tomorrow because my grandson's mother is off tomorrow. She's taking him to the dentist at 8 o'clock, and I thought, wow, I'm going to have all day to diamond paint. But now she's got to go into work after she takes him to his dentist because there's some people sick where she works, and she needs to cover for them. So he'll be home about 9:30 or 10. And then I've got to figure out things to do with him, which I am going to sit him at my craft table for as long as he can, have attention on his diamond painting. He's also got a wooden snake that he wants to paint. But it's just a lot of interruption, when you got little kids. And they get bored easy. And so they don't want to sit all day. So I imagine we'll be going to pet some kitties at the shelter because that's what he really wants to do. And if it was up to him, it would be go to the shelters and pet the animals, and then go to the pet stores and look at all the different reptiles and see if anyone will let him hold a snake or a chameleon or a bearded dragon or whatever he wants to hold. Sometimes they're not that busy and they'll do it, but I discourage him when they've got customers that they're waiting on. And so we may do something along those lines. I think next year he wants to go to summer camp, and I think his mom is considering it because he'll be in 2nd grade, 8 years old, and he'll have a lot of fun. There is one thing that's been really on my mind with him being at his father's house, which granted, he has a lot of fun over there because he's got siblings, half siblings that he plays with, but they live in a neighborhood that is, I'm not going to say it's a bad neighborhood, but there's just a lot of people that are, they live like they're in the country. They let their dogs run loose. They don't put them on leashes. So there's always lost dogs, always dogs getting attacked by these people letting their dogs run loose. Because a lot of them are like Rottweilers and Pit Bulls and stuff like that. And they can be aggressive with other dogs sometimes. But there's just a lot of traffic. It's a big neighborhood. I think it's about 2,500 homes, and there's still a lot of undeveloped lots. So basically these undeveloped lots are woods, cypress trees, oak trees, broken down trees, pine trees, and just really overgrown brush. And there's a lot of homeless people that live in some of these empty lots. And when I lived out there, which I lived in that neighborhood for several years, there was an empty lot. And we're talking like in 2012, I discovered that there were 2 homeless people living in the lot next to me. I pulled into my driveway and they were standing up, and then they quickly ducked down when I looked over, and they knew I was looking. But Anyway, so my point that I'm trying to get at is my grandson is 7, and his one sister is 6, and his older sister is 8. And they are permitted by his stepmom and his dad for he and his sisters to play in the woods. Now, it's not next door. It's about 5 houses down from where they live. And they just go into those woods and play. And my grandson loves it because he says it's exploring nature. But I guess I'm just overprotective. I mean, we did stuff like that as a kid. Not that my mom would really, I mean, a lot of things my mom didn't even know what we were doing. But we stayed close to home, and I don't know, I just feel like it's too far for them to hear. If they have any trouble, if they yelled, they wouldn't be able to get the attention of the parents. And people today aren't always trustworthy or nice. Trying to put it delicately, but there are bad people in the world, and I'm an overprotective grandma, and I worry about my grandson playing in the woods. And I know he's got his sisters, but they're all little, they're all young, 8, 7, and 6. So do you think that, and I asked my son-in-law, and he saw nothing wrong with it. He actually said that because there's an 8-year-old, that I shouldn't worry. I don't know. I just can't help but think about when he's over there. And they go often. It's not every day, but when he's over there for his week, they alternate weeks. It's a couple times a week that they go to the woods. So I just say a lot of prayers. It's really out of my control. I told my grandson I felt uncomfortable about it, and he was very quiet and sad because he likes going to explore nature. Not to mention, I'm sure there's ticks and spiders and snakes and all that, but of course my grandson isn't afraid of any of that stuff. But I don't know. Just something that's been kind of nagging at me. And I guess I want to know if I'm being too protective. Oh, there's some more L's I missed. I think this painting is going to turn out really nice. It's shaping up to be nice. Got some over here. Some J. I don't have a lot to talk about, but I thought even though I didn't have a lot to talk about, that those of you that like to have something on while you're diamond painting or want to diamond paint with someone, you know, via the YouTube, this will be one of those kind of videos because I have nothing to show you today. Surprise. I showed everything I had the last video. My 2 completions and my Goodwill haul. So we're just gonna diamond paint. I'm doing his little cheek, his little yellow cheek. I had a cockatiel. Well, I've had several cockatiels. Sweetest, mild nature, mild manner, just the sweetest bird ever, the sweetest bird breed ever, because I've had, gosh, maybe 5 or 6 cockatiels in my life. And the males are talkative for the most part, maybe not every male, but the males I had learned how to talk. The females don't, but they do little chirps. But I haven't had a cockatiel since, let's see, since I lived in Melbourne Beach. So that's been like 2004. Oh, and then when I moved, I did have cockatiels. I had 2 for several years. So I had cockatiels up until about 2008, maybe 2009. Yeah. I had a pair of cockatiels that I rescued from pretty bad conditions at a pet store, and their names were Lucy and Ricky, like the I Love Lucy show, Ricky Ricardo and Lucy Arnaz. So when I got a home, I actually found a home for that. They took both of them, which I really needed for both of them to go together. She kept the name Ricky and Lucy, so that was good. I think they knew their names. And so sweet. I was in the pet store with Matthew the other day, and he wanted to look at the birds. So we were looking at the sun conures and another type of parrot. And he said, "Grandma, I want you to get another bird. Will you get one of these birds?" And I said, "No." And he said, "Why not?" And I said, "Well, for one thing, they live to be like 80 years old." I said, "Grandma could never outlive one of these birds. And then what would I do?" And he said, "Well, I promise I'll take care of it for you." I said, "That is so sweet." And I said, "I know you would. I could trust you 100%. But the answer is still no. Yeah, people that get these parrots, even if they're middle-aged, they have to have a plan in case that parrot outlives them, you know. Or else who knows where it'll end up. It's a big commitment. And people will get birds and not know how to take care of them. And there's a lot of things that are dangerous that people don't realize. If you own a bird, you cannot light candles. You cannot have air fresheners unless they're pet safe. And even then, they shouldn't be in the same room with them. Teflon pans. If you're cooking and they're near an area that when the pan heats up, it lets off fumes. So if they're even in like the next room with the door open and they breathe those fumes from the Teflon pan, that can certainly damage their lungs and it could kill them. And avocados are poison to birds, just like grapes and raisins are poisonous to dogs. Their little lungs can't tolerate, like if you smoke, people don't smoke in their homes like they used to, but smoke is very dangerous. Or if they're outside while you're cooking on the grill, ooh, that's very dangerous too. Those fumes will definitely injure their tiny little delicate lungs. And a draft, if they're by the window and there's a draft, they can easily catch a cold. And that could end up bad too. And a lot of people think all they need to give their bird is bird seed. But that's like giving your bird McDonald's every day. It can be fattening and it may look like they're healthy, but they need other things in their diet. And depending on the bird, a lot of times that will make a difference. But fruits and vegetables are really a must. Or supplements if your bird doesn't want to eat anything besides seed. So, yeah, whenever you get an animal, it's good to, now with the internet, it's so easy to look up what kind of care it would need. Before you used to have to buy a book or get a book from the library, but now you can just Google it. And before you buy it, do some research, because you may find out that what you're thinking is easy to take care of might not be that easy for you personally. You know, they make a lot of mess. It requires cleaning the floor every day around their cage. A lot of people don't realize how messy they can get. When they eat that seed, the hull, the shell of the seed, even though it doesn't look like the seed has a shell, they eat the little center and they discard the outside of it, and it builds up and it gathers in their cage, but when they flap around, it flies out all over the floor, little feather fluffs. They may take a bath in their water dish and fling water, like my birds are by the window, my bird. When he takes a bath, he flings and water sprays on the window. Yeah, they sometimes I vacuum twice a day around his cage, just because I don't like walking on all that, those granules. So any animal you have is going to take a certain amount of care, some more care than others. Dogs require walking or a little bit more attention, you know, putting them outside to go potty and so forth. Cats mostly indoors, but they have litter boxes. that you have to keep clean. You know, just everything has something. A cage to clean, a litter box. And a lot of times little kids don't realize they want these animals, but they don't realize the work that goes into it. And you can't just, a lot of times, most pets you can't just ignore and lock them in a room and just leave them lonely. That breaks my heart. Like, my bird sees me all day pretty much. But if I had him in another room with the door closed, looking at four walls, maybe not even in front of a window, that's not a good life. That's really a sad life. My bird doesn't like to be pet. He's a finch, but he does like to have some sort of stimulation with seeing other birds and even seeing me, even though he doesn't want me to touch him. He likes to see me. I can tell by his reaction when I walk in the room. This is a pretty nice canvas to work on. It's very sticky and it seems to be going, I can't multi-place a lot. It's right now I'm in a lot of confetti, but I don't mind confetti. It's not heavy confetti, but it's like 2 G's and then an H and then a G and then 2 H's and then 2 G's. And so, I mean, I can two place a lot, but I'm kind of in a single placing mood with it right now. I got gas yesterday, and then I went by the gas station today. They haven't raised the prices yet, but if you haven't gotten gas, you might want to get gas today because there may be a temporary price increase. They said it may not last more than a week, but you might notice prices jumping up even 15-20 cents a gallon. But again, it'd be temporary. But I had a half a tank, so I went ahead and topped off my tank yesterday. Right now our gas station is $2.79 a gallon. And that's the gas station that they sold a lotto ticket, a scratch off, and it was worth $5 million. It was one of the $20 scratch offs. But anyway, I read that because it was their store that sold it, they get $10,000 from the lotto agency for having that winning ticket. So I bet they were excited about that. Maybe they'll upgrade their pumps because their pumps are terrible. But they still have the best price gas around. I mean, most of the gas stations are $2.99, and there's even some that are $3.09, but they're $2.79. And they're always 10 or 15 or 20 cents cheaper than everybody else a gallon. So really that's all I've got. And my daughter is downstairs with some taco chicken, slow cooking it in the big crock pot so we could have chicken tacos. So I told her I would make some margaritas because she's off tomorrow. Well, she doesn't have to get up super early. Well, she has to take my grandson to the dentist and then she has to go to work. So I guess it's like a full day for her. But originally she had it off. But anyway, we'll have a nice evening. And that's about it. So I hope you guys are able to diamond paint today and relax and enjoy Sunday. And you have a good week coming up. And I'll see you guys later. Bye.